Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Open Book Besties. I'm Misty Walker.
And I'm Webster.
And Merry Christmas. Look at us. We're all festive.
We are.
Our matching see us if you're listening to the podcast, but we both brought our Christmas game today.
Right. You have your Christmas lips and I have my Christmas eyeshadow.
Yeah, we should have both had both.
All right.
But my eyes are so hooded. I can't wear eyeshadow. It just, this little hangy, droopy part of my eye just covers it.
Well, and then, I mean, I don't know. You can totally see mine. I shouldn't have experimented before we recorded because that was like the dumbest thing I could have done. But, you know, I do this every time. Like, I'm going to be fancy. And then I'm like, what have I done?
You do look fancy. And then your shirt says, they see me rolling, they hatin'. And then there's Santa and his reindeer.
Oh, what's your shirt say?
And mine says, Santa's favorite hoe.
Because we're those moms.
Like I said, just told you this. My daughter had a Christmas sweater day at school, and she tried to borrow some of my Christmas sweaters, but every single one of them is inappropriate. Every single one.
So she was like, never mind, Mom.
Yeah, she's like, I don't feel like getting kicked out of school for wearing Santa's favorite hoe. Plus, if you knew my daughter, like, that is so offensive because she's just such a little prude.
That's how my kids are too.
Which is crazy well, I don't know about you. I think you are like a very sweet and just bubbly and happy mom, but like me, I curse like a freaking sailor. I tried to be your kind of mom and it just didn't work.
I don't know where you get that I'm some kind of bubbly
I've
happy
seen
mom.
you with your kids.
It must have been an act. I must have been laying it on thick for my guest. I mean, if there's visitors, I'm not gonna like be like bad mom, you know. I'll be like pretend mom.
I don't have that in me. I am what I am, and I'm just a swearing, pessimistic person.
Well, and I mean, that's our kids are exposed to it because that's how Matt is too. So
yeah, I
mean, he's like that, you know. He just says whatever, and the kids are like, ooh, you know. Okay, Dad.
Ty is more like happy bubbly, so we both have that kind of contrast, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I woke them all up today at like 1:30 because they were sleeping, and every single one of them got the same greeting, and I was like, wakey wakey, it's time to join the world of the living. And they're like, you know. So I guess I'm that person. So
yeah. Waking them up at 1:30. It's so funny.
Kind of like whenever I message you and I'm like, good morning, sunshine.
I'm like, dude, it's 4:30. I've had an entire day.
But if I don't do that to you, you're like, are you okay? Are you feeling all
right? My dogs are just on a schedule because during the week I have to get up at 5:30 to get Mabel off to school, which is just so stupid that they make middle schoolers go to school that early. But anyway, so my dogs are on this schedule, like 5:30, we need to wake up. And for whatever reason, they let me sleep in until 7:30 this morning. It was like a Christmas miracle. Early.
You were like, dang, got your surprise early, huh?
Yeah. Merry Christmas to me.
My dog tried to wake me up. Usually she doesn't. She sleeps in, and she does this silent bark thing, like, I'm gonna try to wake you up but not everybody else, and it's like, yeah. And it does wake me up and nobody else. And I just was like, I just looked at her and I said, go on. And then she was like, like, don't silent bark at me. You're not getting out because you're bored. And it was
That's
late. So I
so
mean, I felt
funny.
bad for her, but at the same time, I'm like, I am sleeping.
That's so funny that she's so polite with everybody else, not barking.
Yeah. I'm like, excuse me, I would like to sleep in too.
My Dutch, he's a medium-sized dog. And so what he does is he just stands on top of me, and dude weighs like damn near 50 pounds.
Oh
So
my
he
God.
stands on top of my stomach and my chest and just sticks his nose in my face and
Oh,
breathes.
no
And I'm
way.
like,
I
not how
cannot,
I want to wake up.
right. I could not do that. No. Mm-mm. And I think our dogs do what we allow them to do, because
Hey,
like, I'm just saying that my dog is a total Webster. She,
she
when
is.
we first got her, she was like super high strung and just all this stuff, and now she literally is a Webster. Like, she understands that we sleep in, we stay up late, we don't fuss and want to go outside all the time.
Has Blue ever like been on a leash?
I mean, I think we tried like one time and it was just, but no, like even when we go to the vet, she just runs out there and gets in the car. I mean, I guess when we go to the vet, they make her be on a leash, but other than that, no.
No.
And she thinks she's in trouble. When we pull out that leash, she's like, oh no.
I have to go to the vet.
But most other dogs are like, yay, we're going to walk. And my dog's like, dang it.
That's so funny. She is such a Webster dog.
And then Avery likes to terrorize her a little bit. So sometimes she'll get the leash out and drag her into her room and shut the door and hold her captive. So when she sees that leash, it's like negative energy. She's like, no, please.
Oh. So, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I was thinking, I've been looking on it's that time of year where everybody's like super overwhelmed and
Yes.
rethinking their year and planning for the next year. And I've been seeing a lot of like reflective posts on Facebook and stuff where people are like, saying, I felt like I should have done more, or, all these things, and, just being very hard on themselves. And it just made me think, maybe we should talk a little bit about, this whole author gig and the rat race and trying to stay relevant and all of the stuff and how exhausting that is. And it's always changing and it's always moving and all of this. And I don't know, I just thought it would be good for us to talk about that a little bit and share about it, because since we do have a lot of author listeners, it kind of lets them know that they're not alone and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, I could use a little bit of that right now because I'm such an idiot.
Feeling the same way, like deadlines, and I mean,
oh my gosh, I am drowning. I'm close. I only have like 18,000 more words, which is not that bad for Riley's Biker. And honestly, like I feel like it's my best biker book yet. But yeah, I'm stressed.
And it's just that it's like I can look at you and say, yeah, you're going to do this, because literally like 2 weeks ago you had 0 words or whatever.
Right.
So the fact that you've just done all of this and it's really good stuff and you started over and you say it's your best book, but you're still stressed over it and you only have 18,000 words left. Like, I know you'll get that done lickety split. And so an outsider can see it and be like, dang, you're doing this. You're doing awesome. And then when you're on the inside of it, you're like, I'm dying. I can't take this. And that's how it was for me. Like a few weeks ago when I was doing my duet, and you were like, Chrissy, you got this. It's fine. You totally got this. And at the time I was exactly where you were. And I was like, I'm going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I think a lot of us authors who are also moms that we kind of deal with is, especially working from home, like no one thinks that they can stop, like they shouldn't come in and just bug us all the time. And and then they want to go and do this and they want to go and do that, and then they come in and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go bake cupcakes downstairs, and then the whole time I'm writing, I'm like stressing out that she's gonna make a disaster out of my kitchen. And it's just so hard to focus. It's hard to work from home when you're in a creative job.
Right. And even if you don't have kids, because it's the other person in the house, the
Something
dog, the
else, yeah.
doorbell, like there's just something always at home distracting you, even if it's I should really be cleaning or organizing or whatever. Like there's always something that's like looming and making you feel guilty. And I tried to explain this to my husband the other day. I said, what sucks about working from home is you always feel like you have to be doing something, like
Yeah.
always, and to go towards your bottom line or whatever, your goal or whatever. So if you're not writing, then maybe you should be making graphics. If you're not making graphics, maybe you should be doing marketing. And if you're not doing marketing, maybe you should be working on your newsletter. Like there's always something. And even when you're just sitting there trying to watch a movie, you're thinking, well, should I be plotting right now? Maybe I can just sit here and plot and think about my plot, like, and it's so, it's just so much, like you have to like force yourself to stop and, take a break because those
Yeah.
breaks are really good for you. And like I went shopping with my mom and my sister a couple weeks ago. And it was so nice because I didn't check my phone. I didn't obsessively scroll through Facebook. I didn't like research stuff. I didn't do anything. I didn't worry about not writing or not working because I was out of the house. I was away from my computer and I was just doing things. And it was fun. It was nice to get out and just, I mean, yes, it was exhausting, but at the same time, it was like, okay, why don't I do this more often? Why don't I peel myself out of my chair and go away from my office, because my home is my office. And it's just hard. I mean, obviously everybody that does this knows this. You do.
Yeah. Yesterday I got about 4,000 words done, and then I was like, I have to walk away from this because I'm just going crazy. And I find myself like staring at my screen for half an hour and not writing anything. And I was like, I just have to. And it was so nice. I just sat in bed, watched a show,
Mhm.
snuggled with Mabel. Like, oh, it was so nice.
Yeah, and that's
And
what
now
you need.
today I feel like I can get back at it.
Yes, it's like you need it for your mental health. And I should have worn my sweatshirt, but I didn't. I got a new sweatshirt and it wasn't festive, so I didn't wear it. But it said your productivity doesn't measure your worth or something like that. And so remember I showed you a picture of it.
Yeah.
And
It's a coffee pot on it.
yeah, and I was like, I really need to have that as a reminder. Like I need to like put that on a sticky note and put that somewhere, because I feel like if I'm not being productive 100% of the time, then I'm not doing my job. And my job isn't to be a workaholic who works 120 hours a week or whatever, like
Yeah.
that's like not.
What's interesting is that I think a lot of people are kind of trying to make this turn where they're working smarter, not harder, because you've been trying to work towards that.
Mhm.
And I'm in Willow Winter's author Patreon.
Mhm.
And she sent out this letter talking about how she has never worked as less is that the right way to say that, as she is right now. Like she's working the least amount that she ever has right now, but
She's making the
things
most
are
money.
working for her.
Right.
Like she has everything working for her, so she doesn't have to do it. And I want to get to that point, but I feel like I'm in a different place because I don't have the backlist that Willow Winters has or that you have.
But you
And
do
so I'm
have,
still in that like go, go, go production
but
mode.
you have a significant backlist, and that's where you always sell yourself short, and you have a lot to work with. Even if you only had 2 or 3 books to work with, I mean, that's a backlist, and you've got a whole, like, what, 20 books or something, it seems like, or
I don't
around. I
think
mean,
that
that's a
many.
lot. Yeah, it's a lot. a lot. And but it's funny that you brought up Willow Winters, because I just read something, because I'm in her Patreon too for authors, and because I feel like she just knows what she's doing. Like she is
Yeah,
just doing
she's really smart business wise.
right. And I just aspire to be like that. And so I wanted to be in her group and see like what she talks about. And one of the things that she talked about today was something that me and my friend JD Hollyfield had talked about before too, was the um, illustrated covers, and
Mm,
how we don't like love them, you know, and they don't call to us, and but they're so popular right now, and
yeah.
like we don't feel like they represent the genre that they're representing, but at the same time people are buying them up like crazy. And that was what Willow had said, was that she hates them, she doesn't like them at all, but it doesn't mean she's not going to do them. She's going to do what's smart for the market so she can make money. And I'm like, yeah, that is the hurdle that I'm trying to like jump over this year, is not just thinking, I want to be the most, unique, unusual, different kind of person. And while that's cool, and I can do that every now and again, it doesn't make like marketing sense to do that every single time. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, you have to work to the market, even when that market is not what your aesthetic is, isn't what,
right. Well, and last night I was reading, because I want to write this apocalyptic series.
yeah.
And so I was really researching hard into what those books consist of. And they had a list of like points that you needed to hit. And they were like, oh, and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And I was like, well, I want to do that. And then I thought, no, Christy, stop. Like they're exactly telling you what to do. And you're already balking at what they're saying. And your thing's going to be so different and weird that it's just going to relate to the people that already like your stuff, but you're not like reaching out to that
Broader
market,
audience.
right? The people that devour those books and have certain expectations. You've just eliminated some of what they were expecting. And so it's like, do you want to be successful? Are you going to put in all this hard work and do this one thing to just be mediocre, or are you going to go the whole way? So I literally had to like stop myself and have a little talk with myself and say, okay, let me rethink what I'm doing here,
Yeah, it's a I feel like you kind of have to balance it, between staying true to who you are as a writer and also appealing to the masses.
Right. Well, and the way I see it is, what makes me as a writer, I can still put into those stories,
Yeah.
but like I can still put it all in there. But as far as like the marketable things, I need to make sure I'm hitting those too.
Yeah.
So like I said, just blend them good. And so it's still a K. Webster book, so that if somebody happens to fall upon that book and read it, when they go and read your other books, they fall down the rabbit hole because your style is the same.
Yeah.
But you're reaching more people, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of illustrated covers, I just sent off all of the stuff to have not illustrated covers. I should object covers, which are just as popular as illustrated covers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
I think
and I
it's
like,
gonna be so cool.
yeah, and I think, and doing different kinds of covers for books. I had read a long time ago that people were like, oh, you can't change your covers because the readers get mad. And I'm like, well, they can still have the old covers. Like, it doesn't, like, I'm doing it because it seems like this is fun or different or cool or whatever.
Well, it
And
just refreshes it too,
yeah, and a book that somebody else might have just skimmed on over because they didn't like the cover, even though those people loved it, somebody else might see that new one and be like, oh, I love that. And you've reached somebody new. So
That's another thing that Willow says, is that if a book stops making money at some point, redo the blurb, redo the cover, redo whatever, and just make it fresh again and interesting.
Well, and that ties us back into the original point that I started talking about, was that's where we start to feel overwhelmed, because now it's like, okay, yes, that makes perfect sense. That's like, I get that. Like, I want to do that. I want to sit out there and go through all of my books and do just that. But then I've got like 120 books. Even if I had 15 or 20 books, that's a lot of work,
It's a lot of work.
and then I'm like, okay, focus on one. And then I'm like, okay, well, which one is the most important? Do I pick a standalone? Do I do a series? Do I do whatever's the hot trope of the year or whatever? And then I'm like, but and then it like snowballs into the point where I'm sitting here going, what else can I work on that's not that? Because that like is too overwhelming. And I think it's going to be little changes, taking one thing at a time, and making those little changes, because if we try to just go down the list and do it all, it's not going to work. It's too much.
So what have you like thought about what your goals for next year will be?
My big goal that I want to do is I want to try to double the performance of my website, because I've been selling pretty decently well on my website. I would say about half as well as Amazon, which is a big chunk of my money. So this would be the second part of it. And so, but that means like putting a lot of effort into coupons and promoting it, and all the kinds of stuff. So I'm working on it. That's like a big goal, like one of my big goals. And as far as writing, I'm hoping to write a few things that I've been really wanting to do, and being smart about them, not just writing them and throwing them out there, but like really being smart about them. And then, yeah, that's all I got. What about you?
I've had a lot of authors reach out to me recently because I post these like pack an order with me videos on TikTok. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask how I set up my website. Like how do you get to the point where you can sell books through your website? So I thought I would just mention that it's the easiest thing in the entire world. The way that I do it. I use Wix, and it has the professional option, which is more money, but I more than pay for that just by selling my paperbacks. And I call it the Fisher price of websites, because it is so freaking easy. So any authors that are listening, if you get that professional upgrade with Wix, you could be selling your paperbacks on your website today. Like, it's so incredibly easy. And there's a blog option and everything that you have with Wix. It just adds in, you just put a picture up there, and it does inventory for me too. So I put in the inventory, it counts it down. So when I sell out of a book, I don't have to worry about, oh, I got to take it off my website. It does it for me. I love it.
That's cool. There's a countdown thing on my website, and I need to do it. I just never think to do it. And I saw it the other day, and it reminded me, and Holly was like, what is this? And I was like, oh yeah, there's this little like countdown thing. And she was like, you mean to tell me that we had this option and you have not been using it, and we had all those sales, and I was manually watching and turning off all of the items when we would run out? And I was like, oh. My bad. She was not happy with me.
I wouldn't be happy with you either, because when you do a sale, that can change in a split second how many books you have.
Yes, those sales, I'm telling you. And back to like you were saying, that people can get in and do this website selling. Yours really took off on TikTok. Remember, you like would talk about a book on TikTok, and like you would sell out because all those people would flood your website to go buy that paperback. And I have noticed that, well, my paperback sales, I looked on my little wheel for this month or whatever, and they are right at 50% and the rest is ebook sales. That's a considerable amount of paperbacks for me to be selling in comparison to ebooks, because most authors will tell you that they make all their money off of the ebooks. But I'm telling you, paperbacks are making a comeback. That's why I always use that hashtag on TikTok, paperback comeback, because I really honestly feel like people are wanting books. And well, I was also going to say that I was telling this to my husband too, that if you think about it, through all the years, through all the things, electronics and, you know, all the stuff that's happened, people still want books. They still want the books in their hands. And it doesn't matter if they're primarily an ebook reader, those people probably also buy books, you know? So books are just one of those things that don't go away, you know? And I don't know.
And I feel like things have shifted so much since TikTok, because when we were just relying on Facebook and Instagram, it was kind of like our age range of readers, right? Like you would get some that were younger, but basically we were selling to our immediate peers.
Right.
But with TikTok, I feel like all of those readers started out reading traditionally published books. So all of these young 19, 20, all the way up to 30, they were relying so much on traditional books. Then TikTok happened. And this entire, they don't have Facebook, they don't have Instagram, they don't know about indie books.
Right.
And then TikTok exploded. And now all of these younger readers are finding indie books and they love paperbacks. Like they want the pretty shelf and they want the aesthetic of it all. And they want to take pictures and they want, you know, it's like a whole new readership.
Right. Because it's more show and tell. They want to show, that, you know, since everything's so video nowadays, they want to be able to look what I got, you know, pictures, like, see, isn't this cool? Whereas, you know, I guess maybe the demographic that we'd been selling to before was more like the mom who was really busy, who really shouldn't be spending $3.99 on an ebook. So she should put it in her Kindle. Nobody knows that she just bought 5 books, you know?
Right.
And it's just like you said, like a whole different demographic of people. And we're still selling to this over here, but now we've got this over here that we're working to. So might as well work that angle, which is the paperbacks or hardbacks or whatever.
Yeah. And we make more money off of paperbacks than we do an ebook. So I'm not mad about it. And I love having not one of my paperbacks have been read on my shelf. Not one, but I have them because they're so pretty.
Yeah, that is exactly me. Like all of my paperbacks are just collector's items.
Yeah.
And that's why
I can't even, well, I guess I'd read craft books in paperback so that I can make notes and highlight and stuff. But other than that, I don't ever read paperbacks.
Right. And that's why I think it's okay to do these special edition covers and alternate covers and whatever, because, you know, maybe you're not selling for the person over here who buys every ebook you have and devours them. You're selling for the person who's going to show it off. So they want a pretty version. They don't want the version of the sexiest side of it. Maybe they want the object cover or the cartoon cover because it's cute or whatever. And then they don't have to feel like embarrassed that their mom or their grandma's going to see this cover or whatever. So, you know, it's good to have like different variations because you've got different people buying different things. So, I mean, if we tried to sell the same product across the board to everybody, it wouldn't work.
Right.
But again, this goes into this is how we get overwhelmed very easily, because there are so many aspects. We're not just writing a book. We are 100% business people, and we are marketers, and we are advertisers, and we are social media gurus. I mean, like, we just like have all these things that we have to do and learn about continuously. And again, to reference Willow's Patreon, she was saying, you know, it's a constant learning curve. Things are always changing, and instead of, you know, resisting it, you have to lean into the curve and really just go with it, because if you do, you're going to end up making yourself more money than being a stubborn old biddy like I like to be. And put on the brakes. And so
I've seen that huge change with you, because when I first started working for you a million years ago, you were very much set in your ways and you didn't want to hear anything about any other way. And this is how you were going to do it. But I've seen over the years how you've really adapted and kind of opened your mind to.
I'm trying, because at the end of the day, I love writing books and I absolutely love it. But at the end of the day, it's my business, and
Yeah.
I can't just be willy-nilly about my business. Like I do want to be successful. And sometimes I have to take myself out of the equation and think of it, separately. And if I take myself out of the equation and what I like and what I want, then there's more opportunities, so
Yeah. Well,
it's
I'm proud of you.
oh, thank you.
I am not resistant to change at all. Like, I will do anything if I think it's a smart business decision, or if I think that it will do better than what I had done. Like, I am the least stuck in my ways person ever. And I don't care when people suggest things to me, which I guess is why I have a whole team of beta readers, because I don't mind. I don't get butthurt over. And I was talking to a friend the other day about reviews, because I got pissed off at a review on an audiobook, and it wasn't like because they didn't like the book or whatever. It was that they rated it badly and they DNF'd it after like 10%, because they didn't like how like naive Birdie was. And it's that kind of thing irritates me, because you didn't get to see her character arc, to see that like she starts out that way, but then she has this huge change. And I get irritated at that. But if someone just doesn't like it and they have like valid reasons for it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this book wasn't for them.
Well, and I try to avoid reviews if at all possible. But now and again I get like attacked by one, and then I have to read, and then I second guess my whole thing. I didn't even tell you about this the other day because I was like embarrassed, because I got this I got this review. So I applied for Publishers Weekly to review my book, and I sent them Feuds and Reckless Fury, and they chose it and they reviewed it, but the review wasn't good.
Oh no.
Oh no. I mean, no, it wasn't bad. It was like, it was a good story if it would have just stuck with the main characters and not had all this drama all around it. And I was just like, oh. And so I was like, my feelers were hurt, and I didn't want to tell anybody because I was really embarrassed. And
I have told everybody.
Yeah, I know. And then because listen, there's more to the story. Because then I was like second guessing my writing, and I was like, really, am I that just crappy of a writer? Oh my God. And I was so like embarrassed and everything. But then fast forward to last week, and this girl messages me about Feuds and Reckless Fury, and she just listened to it for the fourth time again on audio, and it's her favorite book that I've ever written, and she loves it so much, and she just can't get enough of it, and she just reads it a million times. And I was like, okay, so maybe it's not the end of the world that somebody didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because here, this person really, really loves it, like so much that they keep reading it over and over and over again. So it just kind of put it into perspective and told me not to be so hard on myself and don't second guess every little thing I'm doing. Because when you write your book, you did the best you could. It's not like I threw the book out there and it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not as embarrassed anymore.
Yeah, I think reviews are just so subjective, and not every book is going to be for every reader. And I know that like we always say that, and that's always like your go-to, like what you say when someone gets a bad review. But for reals, like there are books that I don't enjoy, but you will absolutely be obsessed with it.
Right.
And that just shows you, like, not every book is for every reader. And if somebody doesn't like my book, I'm okay with that. I don't mind. Just freaking finish it first. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, this that it was just like, I don't know, it was embarrassing, and
I think it's more embarrassing because it's like a public forum, right?
yeah, and I was like, why did I do this? Why did I apply for this? Why?
Yeah, but it was like a risk, right?
Right.
It
It
could
was
have very easily have gone the other way. If
right.
somebody else, if the person sitting next to that reader had gotten the book and not her or him or whoever.
Right. And maybe somebody else will say, oh, it's got a good interaction between the couple, but there's also lots of drama. Ooh, I love drama. Let me go
Yeah.
read this. So it
Yeah.
really could, and then meanwhile, this other person who's been listening to it 4 times is telling their friends every time they get a chance, this is my favorite book. I listen to it every chance on audio I get, and
Yeah.
so that's doing its own little thing over there. So,
Yeah.
but then when I read that, I was right in the middle of doing my edits for
Oh,
Triple Threat. And
yeah.
so, and I had just read that book about like the story beats and all this stuff
Yeah.
and conflict and everything. So then I was like, I really suck. I really suck at
Oh.
writing, at everything, And so it's like when I finally finished all that, I kind of got out of that funk, but it was kind of like a downer moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we all kind of have those downer moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you have a lot of good moments too.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the good moments seem to kind of like pop in there when you least expect it. Like, you'll be feeling sorry for yourself like I was, and then boom, this girl's like, oh my God, I loved it, and I'm like, oh, you did?
Speaking of, so we just talked about how I've been like so down because I'm have this looming deadline that's just absorbing every ounce of energy that I have. And I was feeling down about myself. I was like, why do I do this to myself? This isn't the job for me because I am so bad at like sticking with things. And, I seem to do this to myself every single time. And then somebody made a TikTok video just talking about how wonderful I am and how much they love me and my books and just gushing. And no joke, like I saw that and it just put all of my energy back into positivity, and I gotta keep going, there's somebody out there that really loves me.
Right. Yeah. And isn't that amazing how that works? It's just like
Yeah.
you never, it's almost like if you can just, like you said, stay away from the bad stuff and just focus on who you're writing for, and kind of stay on that path, because you are a good writer, and not everybody will like your book, so focus on the people that do like it.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so and we going back again to let's be overwhelmed, because of all insecurities, we're constantly reading craft books, trying to get better, reading other people's books, seeing what they do that makes it so good, like I want to be that good, and so, and then it starts like tacking on, and then you're like, can I do this? Can I write this good? Like, or can I be a marketing master like Willow Winters? Can I, you're constantly comparing yourself to everybody else and aspiring to be like them, or just as good, or good in your own way, or whatever. And there's so many little things that go into it that it's overwhelming. And especially this time of year, because you add in all the Christmas and the kids being home and all of that, and all of the new year, what did you do this year and what are you going to do next year to make yourself more amazing? So no pressure, guys.
Yeah.
You're already feeling like a failure, but let's talk about how much, more awesome you're going to be next year. So it's just, this is the year where there's like so much self-reflection, I guess, and everybody feels overwhelmed. And so basically the moral of this story is stop beating yourself up and go make some cookies with your yourself or your dog or your kid or your grandma or whatever. Take a break, enjoy life, and your work will be there when you get back.
I'm gonna I'm gonna make a snippet of that, and then I'm gonna play it back to you.
And I'm spazzing.
Yeah. I think for next year, I need to focus on releasing things that just have my name on it, because I think attaching myself to so many different projects is good because I'm new and it gets me in front of different readers, but I need to have some things that are just me.
Mhm.
So my goal is to release next year 2 books that are just me, and then I
Mhm.
can do all my other projects too. And I
Oh,
love the other projects, don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
right.
My biker series, I love it.
Mhm.
Briggs Ferry Bay, freaking love that too.
Mhm.
And I want to continue on with those things, but I think I also just need something with my own
Mhm.
name on it.
Right. Yeah, do you remember the year when it was like the year of the co-writes and I had like
Oh
a
yeah, yeah.
million co-writes, and I kind of like lost myself in that because I wasn't getting to do really what I wanted to do 100% because I was also trying to share all my energy with co-write stuff, and
Mhm.
it I don't know, like you said, and when you do a co-write or you do a project that you have certain parameters or whatever, you almost like give up parts of what you want to do. So you're compromising in some way, whether it be the cover because it's a
Yeah.
group cover that everybody uses, or
Mhm.
because your co-writer doesn't want to do certain things in the story, and that's something that you were kind of wanting to do. So you push that aside. So you don't go full 100% you, and so you keep losing parts of yourself along the way, and you really do need those just you projects where you put all of everything that you want to go into a story into it. And I don't know, it's more, I don't know, you just need those to
Yeah.
basically establish yourself within
Yeah.
your own mind.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of my goals for next year. Um, and I know you don't think that I need to do that, but I really want to focus on just getting books out next year. And then the year after that, I want to focus more on marketing what I have out. Right now, like I can't market Royal Bastards because they put the word bastards in the series,
Mhm,
and you can't do Amazon ads on that
mhm,
because it's cursing.
mhm.
And um, I just feel like it's hard for me to market all of these things that are not just mine.
Right. No, that makes total sense
So,
because even like with the Briggs Ferry Bay, you've got the second and fourth book in a series.
right.
That's hard to market too.
And
You
even if when you tell readers, like, you do not have to read any of the other books, like, there are a good 50% that will say, no, I have to read the first book.
Mhm, mhm.
So,
Well, and kind of, I totally get what you're saying because like this is War Baby, that whole series, it's a 7-book series, but book 1 got banned. Do you know how
yeah,
hard it is to market
yeah,
a book when book 1 is gone on Amazon?
yeah.
I like the whole series just, like what am I
Mhm,
even doing? And so, and then same thing with my Taboo Treats, the very first book, Bad Bad Bad, got banned.
mhm.
So even though they're all standalones in that series, people, like you said, really want to go and read them in order. But now I lost the first book. And so it's really frustrating. And I don't know if that's kind of, because I got burned on those two things is why I don't really 100% love series, and like I don't love writing them
Mm,
because I feel like too much rides on that first book and what happens
yeah,
if, and so I do a lot of standalones. But yeah, standalones are my babies. And any marketing person will tell you that you need to have series, but
mhm,
series don't work for me. Not like they do everybody else. Some of my standalones, like most of my standalones are my my big money makers
Yeah.
compared to the series. And I don't know what those people do after they finish. There's nowhere else for them to go. I'm hoping they go to my backlist and look for other standalones like this, but I mean, if I lose them, I surely I don't lose them after that, If they
Right.
really loved that standalone, surely they go back and look for other books, but I don't know. I don't mark it the same way as everybody.
Yeah. I like writing series because I like getting so deep into a world. And I also like that the world building is already done within that first book mostly.
Mhm.
So I do enjoy writing series versus standalone. But yeah, so much rides on that first book.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and what was I gonna say? I was gonna tell you because you usually like forget stuff and about your
Usually. Always. I think
yeah.
you meant to say always.
Yeah, I think I might have even screenshot it, and I don't know if I sent it to you or I just thought about sending it to you, but I saw one editing place or something where they have a option to pay for where they will go and make a series Bible for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Sign me up.
I know. I need to
I
figure
need
out.
that now.
Yeah, I wanted to say it was like Becca something, but I need to look it up because I was like, oh, Misty needs this. I thought, wow, what a great service to offer. So like, could you imagine, listen up, entrepreneurs, if you were like really good at attention to detail and, lots of people are,
Mhm.
you could, for a fee, charge someone to go through and read through their series and give every character a spec sheet basically, and even a little timeline or whatever, and people would pay for that.
First, seriously, I would sign up right this second for that because I need it so desperately. My memory, I don't know, there's a lot of reasons why it's bad, but it is so bad. And thankfully, my editor has read all of my biker books. And
Mhm.
so when I say something and she's like, you didn't describe it that way in Birdie's Biker. And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even think about that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would totally pay for that in a heartbeat.
Right. Well, and one of the cool things like with writing Triple Threat is because it's set in a world.
Oh yeah, that must be.
Well, and then Sky, she's like the master of the world, like, so she knows all the things. So like I had a like, 5 years later or whatever, and she's like, well, there's going to be all these other books and yada yada yada, and this is just too way far out. Is there a reason why it needs to be 5 years and not sooner? And I'm like, oh, so it's like good to have somebody who like understands
Mhm.
the whole entire world, and help you iron out your part of it, and
I was
so.
thinking about that because there's two families in
Mhm,
that series,
mhm,
lots of siblings.
mhm.
I can't imagine.
Right. And they, for the authors that write in it, they do have a very organized like thing that we can access and see all the characters and who wrote them and what stories, and and when it came down to, I had a character that I wanted to use from the opposite family, and I went to Sky and was like, I need a character I can use. It's not going to be the love interest. He can be a love interest later, but for somebody else, but I want to use them. And she was like, okay,
Mhm.
you can use him or him. So I grabbed one and used him, and now I feel like I'm partial to him, and somebody better give him a really good story. But that happened to Perry too.
That happened to Perry, yeah.
So hopefully they'll read his character and be like, oh, we love him. And hopefully whoever gets him will do a really good story. So
Yeah, I need some more Perry godmother.
yeah, he's so
I
sweet.
loved him. I know. I start out thinking that I'm gonna be organized, right? So I don't have it with me, but Ann Lowe,
Mhm.
which we got their
Mhm.
we got their planners last year
Yep.
and promptly did not use them.
Same here.
But they also have a series Bible. And so I was like, I am going to stay on top of this biker series. I'm going to fill it out. I'm going to, blah, blah, blah. No. I didn't even finish filling out for birdies before I gave up.
Right. Yes, I know. It's I don't know what it is about us, but if somebody else went through and read it all and put down all the key important things down to like their personality, their hair color, the things they like to eat, whatever. I mean, and really just did it like a hardcore scrub of your series, and to where you could have that you would reference it.
Yeah.
You just don't want to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean,
instead, I spend hours doing a search within my documents, like trying to, wait a minute, what did this
open at the same time?
And it's a nightmare. So that would be amazing. You better send me that information, and then we can print them out next time too.
But like this, like the first I'd seen of it, and I thought to myself, why aren't there more people offering this?
Yeah.
Like of all the things that I spend my money on, that would be another thing I would spend my money on.
Yeah, for reals. Anybody out there?
I mean,
message me.
You
can start your business with me.
Yeah, same. Me too.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine someone going through like all 175,000 of your books?
Well, and then I have one of my readers who loves my taboo treat world, and has made a spreadsheet of all the characters.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of cool because I didn't have to do it, but then it reminds me of, all the stuff I didn't do. But how cool would that be, especially if you wanted to do a spinoff? So for instance, like I wrote the Hood River Hoodlum series, and eventually I would like to write a spinoff series, but it's not there in my brain yet. I don't want to force it. So, but it's been a long time since I wrote those books. So now I'm like, okay, am I gonna have to, I'm gonna have to read them all again. But wouldn't it be cool if I had someone who had also read through them and put into like a document that had all of the stuff, and then whenever I read through it, I could also look through and see, and then I would be so geared up and ready to write that next series. So
seriously. And that's with the Royal Bastards, I'm writing in another MC that I can spin off with, because I love writing bikers, but I'm running out of characters. Like I can always introduce more, but I'm running out. And also I want to do some things with just my name. So my idea is I have this MC that I'm introducing into Royal Bastards that I can now tie into that whenever I want to go and write this other MC. And it would be really nice if I had everything all in one place to reference back to when I make that leap.
Yeah, totally agree.
All these readers out there,
right?
We just gave you a business idea,
right? What's funny is my friend Erin, she's always doing like really smart business type things, and the other day I came up with something and I was like texting her and I was like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And she was like, girl, slow your roll. I am so overwhelmed by Christmas and the holidays and everything else right now. Please don't give me another thing to go chase after. And I was like, okay, well, when you calm back down and you're back in beast mode, it's going to be waiting for you. This is my idea. It's for her, not for me. Like it's always easy coming up with ideas for other people to go do.
Right? It always is. You have that like outside perspective where things just are so much more clear than when you're in the middle of it.
Right.
So we're running long. We had a lot to say today.
We did, and we're already in trouble because we don't promote.
I know. We're not promoting this enough. So if you enjoy listening to the Hot Mess Express that we are,
tell your friends,
recommend it to somebody.
Subscribe, tell all the people that are important in your lives, your dads and your moms.
My dad.
Yeah. Dad, Misty's dad, tell your friends.
Hey, John. What's up?
Johns are super. And then, so we got to work on that. But is this, are we at the, what are you reading?
We're at the point where we're going to be saying what we're reading, and
You want me to go first? You want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Because I wasn't prepared, so I got to look it up.
I'm prepared. I'm always prepared.
Okay, I know you are always prepared. I'm never prepared.
So I am reading a book called Deadly Lockdown, and it is by, I don't know the names. I saw the cover on Stephanie Milacreast and Misty Zog. But anyway,
Well, if it's by a Misty, then it's magical. I already know.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. And anyway, it has a picture of a woman and a man. He's got a gun on his shoulder, and there's a dog, and it says "Escaping the Virus" book 1, and then it's like this apocalyptic world beyond that. So of course everything about it just called to me, and I needed it, and so I bought it, and it's really good. It's not romance, it's just an apocalyptic thriller. It's good. I'm almost done with that, and I'm actually in the middle of reading this book. Well, I'm going to see if I can show it. It's called, can you see this?
Writing a made-for-TV Christmas movie.
Yes.
I'll give you the secret sauce right now. High top exec woman moves to a small town, and her aunt dies and leaves her a bakery.
Okay, listen, this is the recipe for a cozy Christmas romance logline. Are you ready?
All right.
A, and then insert description of protagonist, adjective and job. Who, description of the problem. Decides to, Christmas challenge. With, love interest. In order to avoid disaster, achieve goal. So there you go. Tells you all about it. Yeah. I'm like so into it. It's such a cute little book. And
are you gonna write a made-for-TV movie?
No, you never know with me. I'm always up to something.
Yeah, you never know.
And then I'm in the middle of reading this book called This Is Marketing by Seth.
Oh my gosh, that makes my head hurt just looking at it. It's so thick.
No, I'm only right there. That one makes your head hurt. Then you're really gonna not like this one. This is the other one that I'm working on, and it's called Social Media Marketing.
That lady does not look like she knows anything about social media.
That is a light bulb on her head. And this is
got ideas.
That is
wow.
This is like an actual workbook, and it's huge too. And I read this guy, Jason McDonald. He has one called SEO, whatever. That's the one I read about SEO. So anyway, he's really smart and has all kinds of stuff to learn. I
am going to buy both of those books, but I'm going to wrap them up and give them to Ty, because I don't have the brain for that kind of thing. Like I would fall asleep.
Like he could read it.
I'd get to page 5 and fall asleep.
Yeah, he could read it and then kind of like explain to you what you need to do, and then you could go do it. But exactly. I kind of do that too with a lot of these books. You notice that? Like I will read them and then give you the cliff notes of what I learned. And
I like it that way. It works out.
So I mean, I am like tight in that sense that I love learning. I love learning about stuff. Like I want to know how to do a little bit of everything, especially stuff like this, and I feel like not everybody is wired that way. Like my sister's not wired that way. Like just not everybody is, but I am. And that's just one of my things that I really, really enjoy. And what makes your eyeballs bleed, reading this, I had to put it down because I was so inspired, and I had to run over here and go do some things and message Aaron. And I had all these ideas just from reading this, and not everybody's going to be that way, but I was. So yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Well, that is your superpower, and it works out really well for me. So keep doing that. You just keep reading those books and filling me in.
Yeah.
Are you listening to anything right now or no?
I was listening to that
Foxholes.
What? What'd you say?
Foxholes.
No, I really should. I've been wanting to listen to them again, but I was actually listening to What If It's Us, but I stopped because I was I read that there was another book and that they broke up. at the end of a
Oh,
one or something, and I just got really upset about that. And so I didn't DNF it, I just paused it. And so I'm not ready to read it, and if knowing that they're going to break up.
until the next book is out.
Well, the book is out.
Oh.
I just, why can't it all just be in one book? Like, why has it got to be 2 books? Why they got to break up? So I'm just a little butthurt over that right now, but I'll get back to it because I did buy it and it was expensive. So
Dang it, we're gonna read it.
I get my one money's worth.
So I like, do you like reading Christmas books?
Sometimes, yeah, just depends on my mood.
December turns into like Christmas book readathon for me. I love them. I love like the sweet, but also with the spicy. So there's this author on TikTok, and she's been posting like the best TikToks, making her holiday book sound so dirty and so good. And it's called the Fake Santa Apology Tour. It's by Julie Olivia. And it's like a silver fox. It's really good. I haven't finished it yet. And then I always go back to 2 books that I just read probably twice every single year at Christmas. And one of them is Merry Christmas with why can't I think of it right now? Your book, Judy. Yeah. A Merry Christmas
that sounds
with Judy.
familiar.
Yeah. That one's yours. Because it is just so sweet and so freaking filthy at the same time. And I just love that contrast. Like, that is my favorite contrast ever. Like, super ultra sweet and sugary, but then like so much spice that it shocks you. Because you're like, everything is so like, oh, my magical heart. And then all of a sudden it just gets so filthy. And I'm like, woo, okay, that's perfect. Give me more of that. So that one. And then I have another one that's just like my absolute favorite, by Celia Aaron, which you wouldn't think such a sweet book would come from. But again, it's sweet and spicy, called Christmas Cake. I read an arc of that years ago, and it's still to this day, it's one of my absolute favorite Christmas books.
I will have to check that one out because I love her stuff. And I've even read her, she's done like fanfic stuff. She did some fanfic of, you're not even going to know what I'm talking about, but.
I already know. You say fanfic and I'm like, no, I don't know. You're right.
Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars. She did some fanfic of them and I loved it. And then she also did some fanfic with The Walking Dead with Daryl and Rick and some random girl. And it was so good. And I'm just such a nerd for that stuff. She's like, it's over here on some random website. You got to read it. And I was there, I was good.
Well, you'll probably like this one. And it does follow. If you want to make a dirty Hallmark movie, like, this would be the one. It's so cute and so dirty. And it follows like that whole bakery kind of trope thing. And it's just so cute. I just love it. I love it so much.
I read this. Oh, I got to interrupt really fast because I read a Christmas book one time called something like Pounded by the Gingerbread Man or something. And it was a bakery one.
Was it a real gingerbread man?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have to look this up real quick. Pounded by the gingerbread.
I don't remember the name of it. It was gingerbread.
Something like that.
Yeah, it had gingerbread in the title.
Ravaged by the Gingerbread Man.
That's it.
Do you think that's it?
Yes, it has a picture of, that's it.
Ravaged by the Gingerbread Man.
Yeah. Ravaged by the Gingerbread by Fanny Tucker.
By Fanny Tucker.
There was lots of cream filling. Bleep that part out for all you that are little or young.
No, we don't have little listeners. Okay, wait. I clicked on the Goodreads link and it would not take me there, but I have to see the cover. Oh. Oh, it's like a gingerbread man, and then a lady that's like covering her mouth, like she looks
Right?
pretty surprised that she's getting the gingerbread man's cream.
Right? Hold on, let me see if I can find
Okay.
a picture. Here it is.
Yeah. Okay. Kara's bakery is struggling to make ends meet. And with the holiday season in full swing, she's working around the clock to make enough cookies. After a recipe mistake leads her to make way too much gingerbread dough, she decides to put it to use. When a magical holiday wish brings her life-size gingerbread man to life, she discovers she's created the randiest, naughtiest confection ever, and he's going to make her taste his cream filling.
Told you.
This ridiculous short story contains explicit sexual content, including a life-size gingerbread man with an oversized length of stiff dough, hot and fresh from the oven. Warning, improper use of a rolling pin. I'm buying that. One click. That's amazing. I love that.
That's the kind of holiday reads I read.
Yeah. We have a little bit of a difference in opinion about a holiday read. Right. Improper use of a rolling pin. That's awesome. So along with my Christmas books, I got sucked. Okay, I've read all of The Fallen Men by Gianna Darling. I think I even talked about this last time because I was still involved with it. Yes, I am still there. I've read all of them except Dead Man Walking, and then I wanted to listen to Dead Man Walking, but then I was like, wait, maybe I forgot some details. Of course I forgot some details. So I started all over, and I'm finally at Dead Man Walking.
Oh, well, that's cool.
It's my favorite MC series ever. I love it.
Yeah, I do. I love that. That series is really good. And
Priest, I'm so excited because Priest is like this, he's the death man, like he's the killer, and he's just like so dark in his head, and I just love it.
Yeah,
so good.
Love us some dark characters, don't we?
Yep. So that's what I'm listening to. Honestly, I'm not doing anything besides writing, but that's what I tell myself I'm reading and writing, or reading and listening to.
Well, kind of like I show you like 3 different books I'm reading. I'm literally just bouncing between them, just whatever I feel like reading. It's not like, it's very ADD reading. I'm not reading 3 books at exactly the same time, but like I'll be thinking, I want to get back to that, SEO book or whatever. So
yeah.
But they are beside my chair, so I can grab them and read them when I have a second.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do, except I listen to a lot more books because when I'm getting ready or in the car.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's what I do.
I do listen in the car, but I had to take a break because we're listening to Christmas music. And the other day, me and Matt got in the car to go pick up Avery, and I had my Christmas jams on, and I was driving. Usually he drives, but I was driving. So I thought I was in control.
With him in the car?
Right. I thought I was in control.
I can't picture that.
No. And then he decides that he's going to change he like literally unpairs my device and puts his on there and puts Metallica on. And I was like,
right.
We were listening to, Brenda Carlisle or whatever it was. Like, we were jamming out to classic, Gene Crosby or whatever. So
what's your favorite Christmas?
Autry, whatever. Yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas song?
I like all those. I really love anything that Gene Autry or Bing Crosby writes or sings.
So you like the older?
I like the really old classic, Walking in a Winter Wonderland, those songs. I don't know. I just sing. I know. That was a treat for our audience. I said he wanted me to get more listeners. You're my part.
Show him your true talent.
Yes. Bonus content.
Okay, growing up, we listened to 2 Basic albums during Christmas time, and that was it, because of course, like you had to get a CD or tape or whatever, and we were poor. So we had is it Kenny Loggins? I think it's Kenny Loggins. Maybe it's Kenny Rogers. I don't remember. One of the Kennys Christmas album, and it was like Christmas in America, which, just whatever. And then also Amy Grant.
Oh yeah.
So it was like on repeat.
Those
Kenny
two.
Loggins, Amy Grant. I still listen to him this day. I love him.
Aw. So you're not a total Grinch.
No, but I was feeling like kind of down in the dumps because that's my life right now. And I thought, I'm going to make this podcast suck if I can't cheer myself up.
Aww.
So I blasted Kelly Clarkson's Christmas while I was getting ready.
Really?
Cheered me right up.
Holly tried to shake things up the other day at work, and she brought her own playlist and told me I had to follow it and listen to it. And she had like modern day Christmas songs. Like there was some Mariah Carey and all this stuff. And I felt like I was in the mall. I was like, this is not Christmas music to me. Like I have to listen to the really old Christmassy songs that are like from the 50s or whatever. I just like the 40s. I don't know.
It doesn't surprise me that we have differences in a Christmas music
Right.
as well.
And I got my kids, I forced them to listen to it too. So it's called making family traditions.
Yeah, they'll grow up and they'll be like me with freaking Kenny Rogers, Christmas in America, blasting that while making cookies today.
Exactly.
That's what I'm about to do.
Aw. Take pictures.
Yeah, well, I didn't get all gussied up for nothing.
Right.
Pictures will be taken.
Right.
Okay. Well, this was fun.
Yep.
We went a little long because we haven't had a lot of time to chat this week. So I feel like we had a lot to say.
A lot of catching up to do.
Yep. But we will be back. And when we get back, it will be a new year.
New year, new us.
Yep.
So it'll be the same us pretending to be new.
Same us. Yeah. Same us. Only we will have very lofty goals that we will not meet.
Right. So we can feel like a failure this time next year.
1 year from now, we're gonna have the same episode of everything that we didn't do.
That we failed to do.
Okay, so we will be back in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, leave us comments, share
our YouTube video. Go hunt it down, share it.
Yeah. And we will see you then. Bye.